Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Haziq, and today I will love to present about National Green Technology Policy from 2009 to 2030. And this is for ADS514 Introduction to Public Policy, and we are from Faculty of Science Administration and Policy Study. We prepared this for Dr. Jamira binti Abdullah, and we are from Group 6 from AM 2384A. Okay, now I will introduce our group member. So first is the first picture is Muhammad Nur Syakirin bin Muhammad Azni, and next is myself, Muhammad Azifan bin Sabardi, and the one and only girl in our group is Intan Batrisha Bilkis binti Kamaruzaman, and lastly is Muhammad Khairul Zaim bin Zamri. Now, this slide introduces Malaysia National Green Technology Policy, or we can call as NGTP, which serve as the direct solution to the policy problem outlined in the previous slide. It breaks the policy down into three key areas: its definition, its core pillar, and its specific growth strategy. So, what is it? So, it was launched in 2009 by the Ministry of Energy, Green Technology and Water, known as KETTHA. Its purpose is to blueprint the design to dual-track Malaysian progress using green technology to drive economic growth while simultaneously protecting the environment. So we go to the four core pillars. The policy is built on four fundamental foundations: balancing resource management, nature wealth, and community. So the first pillar we can call as energy. Energy is objective to seeking energy independent, reducing reliance on imported fossil fuels, and increasing energy efficiency. The next pillar is environment. Environment objective is to conserving natural resources and minimizing negative human impact on the planet. The third pillar is economy. Economy objective to boosting national wealth and GDP through the expansion of green technology. And the lastly is social. Social is to improving the overall quality of life and health for all citizens. Third one, we go to the strategy for growth. To solve the issue of a weak local market and low innovation, the problem from the first slide, the NGTP implements 6 strategy action points. First is institutional framework, strengthen policy laws and regulation to create a solid legal foundation for green development. Next is conductive environment, create financial and structural support like tax incentive or grant to help the green sector grow. Next is human capital, develop and train skilled green talent, engineer, technician, researchers, so the country has the workforce it needs. And the fourth one is R&D and innovation, drive new ideas and local solutions to transform Malaysia from mere tech adopter into a tech creator. And the last one is public awareness, to engage community and everyday citizen in the vision, boosting public demand for sustainable product. Visual centerpiece, the middle graphic illustrated a green sustainable future for Kuala Lumpur, featuring the Petronas Twin Tower powered by solar energy, wind turbine, electric public transit, and eco-friendly urban infrastructure under the NGTP banner. So just that from me. So this section highlights why the green tech market is struggling to grow. It is broken down in two components. First is underdeveloped market. The green technology GT sector is currently too small. Because of its limited size, it lacks the scale and strength to compete with other countries either regionally within the Southeast Asia or globally. Second is low funding and demand. There is lack of financial backing from both the government, public and business private. This restriction in investment happen because the actual economic value and long-term benefit of green technology are not yet fully recognized or appreciated by the investor. So, the top right illustration depicts a bustling market where traditional sectors like manufacturing and oil and gas attract all the crowd and money, while the green tech stalls sit isolated with few customers and stagnant growth. Next, we go to low innovation and technological capability. This section focuses on the country's struggle to develop its own technology solution. Now, first we go to the slow progress. It's highlight that Malaysia is lagging behind developed nations when it comes to sustainable innovation because the country is moving slowly in this area. It is heavily limited in its ability to invent and manufacture its own high-value solution, advanced, profitable, and highly effective technology. So in the bottom right illustration feature a map of Southeast Asia and point out key bottleneck: slow investment compared to developed nation, limited R&D funding and poor collaboration between university, researcher and industry. And next is tax adapter, not creator. The country relies heavily on importing foreign tax rather than building its own high value local solution.
Now, I'm going to present to you the policy objectives for National Green Technology Policy. There are 5 policy objectives which contains the first one is to minimize the growth energy consumption while enhancing economic development. Second is to facilitate the growth of the green technology industry and enhance its contribution to the national economy. The third one is to increase national capability and capacity for innovation in green technology development and enhance Malaysia's competitiveness in the global arena. The fourth, to ensure the sustainable development and conserve the environment for future generations. And lastly, to enhance public education and awareness on green technology and encourage its widespread. Moving into the core execution of the Green Technology Master Plan, let's look at how Malaysia is building a supportive ecosystem. As you can see in the pie chart, the government has identified 5 strategic thrusts that serve as the critical pillar for this growth. They are designed to shift Malaysia from merely adopting foreign green technologies to actively producing our own. So the first is we have the institutional framework. This is all about governance and policy leadership. The master plan serves as a blueprint to foster interministerial collaboration, helping to smooth out overlapping jurisdiction and create a unified national direction. Second, creating market enablers. To build a conducive environment, the government is leading by example through government green procurement or GGP. This is paired with green tax incentives, innovative financing structures like green sukuk, and international collaboration to stimulate market demand. Third is human capital development. A green economy requires specialized workforce. This trust focus on capability building across both the public and private sector, heavily relying on partnership with higher education institutions to create on-demand industry-led skills training. Fourth is research, development, and commercialization. To stop relying on imported technology, we must create a local intellectual property. This involves scaling up public and private partnership and funneling targeted R&D funding into localized green tech solution. And lastly, and perhaps most critical for long-term success, is promotion and public awareness. This targets the rakyat, which is the public, to inculcate a green lifestyle. It leverages major platforms like International Green Tech and Eco Product Exhibition, we call it IGEM, and Integrated Green Concept into primary and secondary education.
Now I will continue with policy evaluation strength and weakness, focusing on strength, which is balanced economic and environmental focus, supports growth of green technology industry, enhances innovation and global competitiveness, and promotes sustainable development. The first strength is balanced economic and environmental focus. Before National Green Technology Policy was implemented, Malaysia's growth model prioritized industrial expansion, urban development, and rising household consumption with limited safeguards on energy use. Demand for electricity and fuel increased rapidly across manufacturing, transport, and residential sectors, while efficiency standards were weak and unevenly enforced. The energy mix was dominated by fossil fuels, exposing the country to price volatility, supply risk, and steadily rising greenhouse gas emissions. Environmental considerations were often treated as secondary to economic targets, creating a pattern where higher GDP was closely tied to higher resource consumption and pollution. With the introduction of the National Green Technology Policy, green technology became the bridge between economic activity and environmental protection. The policy promoted energy-efficient buildings, cleaner transport options, better waste and water systems, and financial incentives such as GTFS that made efficiency investment more attractive to firms. Instead of slowing development, the policy reframed how development should occur, encouraging output growth with smarter energy use, lower emissions, and improved resource productivity. The second strength is supports growth of green technology industry. Before NGTP, Malaysia's green technology landscape was fragmented and small. Local firms have limited capability to design, produce, or scale green solutions, and the country relied heavily on imported technologies and expertise. Investment appetite was low because the sector lacked policy direction, market signals, and financing support. As a result, green activities contributed minimally to GDP and job creation, while traditional sectors like oil and gas and conventional manufacturing dominated the economy. The NGTP created a supportive ecosystem for GT through institutional leadership, market creation, and financing access. The Green Technology Council coordinated national efforts while funding schemes lowered the barrier to entry for producers and users of green solutions. By signaling long-term government commitment, the policy increased investor confidence, stimulated entrepreneurship, and encouraged domestic firms to enter green markets such as renewable energy systems, efficient building materials, and waste technologies. The third strength is enhances innovation and global competitiveness. Before the policy, innovation in green technology was limited by weak R&D funding, poor collaboration between universities, industries, and a shortage of skilled professionals. Malaysia often adopted technologies developed abroad rather than creating its own. This limited value creation, reduced knowledge transfer, and placed the country behind more advanced economies investing heavily in clean technology research. After the policy, the NGTP emphasized research, development, and innovation as a core strategy. Grants, retraining programs, certification mechanism, and human capital initiative were introduced to strengthen technical capacity. The policy encouraged partnership between research institution and industry, creating pathways from laboratory research to practical application. Over time, this has helped to nurture a more capable workforce and improve Malaysia's ability to develop, adapt, and commercialize green solutions. The last strength is promote sustainable development. Rapid development before 2009 contributed to air and water pollution, deforestation, biodiversity loss, and unsustainable extraction of natural resources. Waste management systems were insufficient, water resources were heavily strained, and environmental protection measures were inconsistently enforced. Development planning rarely integrated long-term ecological consideration, raising concerns about intergenerational sustainability. After NGTP was implemented, the policy embedded green technology into sectors that directly affect environmental quality, such as water treatment, waste management, transport system, and building practice. By promoting cleaner production methods and conservation-oriented technologies, the policy ensured that environmental protection become part of mainstream development planning. The focus has shifted toward safeguarding forests, water source, and ecosystem while still enabling economic activities to proceed.
Let's move on to the policy evaluation by highlighting the weaknesses of the National Green Technology Policy. One of the major weaknesses of this policy is poor coordination and institutional framework. Before the introduction of the policy, various government ministries and agencies had different responsibilities related to green technology and environmental management. Even after the implementation of the policy, there is still bureaucracy and overlap between the federal, state, and local governments, which affect the policy implementation process. For instance, firms that would like to invest in renewable energy or waste-to-energy projects need the approval of different agencies, making the process time-consuming and inefficient. Thus, the effectiveness of implementing green technology is reduced. The second weakness is the inconsistent enforcement and low compliance. While the policy encourages environmentally friendly practice, most industry views such measures as voluntary rather than compulsory. Majority of SMEs are still adopting old-fashioned energy-intensive practices due to high cost of implementing green technology. Moreover, the lack of enforcement of the policy reduces its effectiveness in achieving the objective. Another weakness is lack of public awareness and behavior change. Even though awareness campaigns have helped raise public consciousness about environmentally friendly practices, many people continue to struggle to adopt sustainable behaviors. The reason for this is simple. Green products tend to be more expensive than regular products, making people choose cheaper products over environmentally friendly ones. From this, we can deduct that mere awareness is not sufficient for behavior change. Lastly, Malaysia still faces challenges in achieving truly sustainable development. Economic growth is still often prioritized over environmental protection. The country continues to depend heavily on natural resources, while progress toward a circular economy is still slow. This creates difficulties in balancing GDP growth with environmental sustainability in the long term. Next, I will explain several recommendations to improve the effectiveness of National Green Technology Policy. First, the government should modernize the policy framework by introducing a clearer zero-net strategy. This strategy should include specific target and milestone for 2030 and 2050 so Malaysia can align with global sustainability goals such as the Paris Agreement. Second, enforcement mechanism should be strengthened. A centralized green technology authority should be established with the legal power to monitor implementation and ensure compliance across all sectors. At the same time, a digital monitoring system or national green dashboard can be introduced to track progress in real time and improve transparency. Third, the government should provide stronger financial support for SMEs. For example, the Green Technology Financing Scheme can be expanded into Green Credit Guarantee Program, while Micro-Green Grant can help smaller businesses adopt green technologies without facing heavy financial burden. Next, different industries should receive tailored incentives based on their operational needs. For example, industries that reduce carbon emission or adopt energy efficient system can receive tax rebates and financial incentive. Besides that, Malaysia should strengthen human capital development through certified green professional programs and collaboration between universities and industries. Green technology education should also be integrated into schools' curricula to encourage sustainable habits from young age. Lastly, the government should introduce stricter legislation such as an Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act to ensure industry comply with energy saving standards and environmental regulation. In conclusion, the National Green Technology Policy is an important initiative that aims to balance economic growth, environmental protection, and social well-being. The policy has successfully created a foundation for the development of green technology in Malaysia and increased awareness about sustainable development. However, several challenges still remain, including weak enforcement, financial barrier, limited coordination, and low public behavioral change. Therefore, Malaysia must modernize the policy framework, strengthen enforcement mechanism, and provide stronger financial and educational support to ensure the successful implementation of green technology initiative. Ultimately, the widespread adoption of green technology is essential for reducing carbon emissions, protecting the environment, and securing a sustainable and competitive future economy for Malaysia.